I was still in university, and a friend of mine started a nightclub, and he needed a bartender. Um, so I started bartending for him, earning money on the side while studying. And I must have worked there for about a year and a half, and I thought, well, yeah, let me try and throw my first party. And we threw a student night, which was like 14 years ago. I was 21. So we threw a student night at this nightclub. It was out in the north suburbs of Johannesburg. And yeah, ever since then, like the first night that we threw was really good. And then we kicked off like a small little season at the nightclub, the student night. I think it was maybe about 3 or 4 months. And then we moved over to another nightclub called Nikki Beach out in the East Rand of Johannesburg, in Boksburg. And we threw student nights there for about 7 years, 8 years. We were the biggest student night in South Africa. We used to do between 1,500 and 2,000 kids a night every Thursday. And then obviously as time goes on, your crowd kind of grows old with you. So we started throwing sort of boutique weekend events for the older crowd while still carrying on with our student nights. And then I went through a partnership split with them partners, and I went on my own because we kind of had our differences in where we wanted the business to head, and I wanted to focus more on sort of the lifestyle, the experiential side of the entertainment industry, and they wanted to carry on with the electronic dance music scene. And that's when I started Connect Entertainment, which was 5 years ago. And yeah, since we started Connect, pre-COVID, we would host all of the Black Coffee shows, Gold Fisher shows, all the stuff at the Silver Sun hotels, Mont Casino. So we'd host anything between 8 to 10 large-scale music festivals a year. Subsequently to that, we started a DJ agency. We would groom artists and kind of either join our rank or move on, or we'd find radio stations for them to do that. To a point where we actually groomed a lot of the artists for 5FM and 947. Now we've obviously had to shift our focus from being a festival curating agency to more of a brand activating agency. So that's where our main focus is. And a brand that we've just started now called Africa My Playground, which is kind of a beautiful unison between tourism and entertainment, which that's doing really well. So our main focus is on that at the moment. But yeah, that's pretty much me and Connect in a nutshell. I wouldn't change it for anything else, to be honest with you. Quality and hard work always trumps. So, like in the entertainment industry, everybody's out for that first single, that big hit, that massive show. But they don't realize the hard work that goes behind it. And as quick as you've built it is as quick as you'll fall. So I think where I'm trying to get with this is this industry. It's always about the long race. If you're passionate about this industry, I don't really think the money and the ego matters much. For me, it's about seeing people happy and seeing people having a good time. And if I have to turn around and start either throwing money around with the cars or treating customers or suppliers or brands badly, those suppliers, brands, or customers aren't going to come back to my show. So for me, it's always about making people as happy as possible, and that makes me want to carry on with the industry. I go to bed thinking about how I can make my experiences better for the customers. And if I'm making the experience better for the customers, you're automatically taking the ego out of it, because it's not about me, it's about them. And I think the minute people, especially in the entertainment industry, start realizing that the industry is not about them, it's about your fans or your customer base and how you please them, whether it's music, whether it's events, whether it's concerts, it's always going to be about the fans. You start throwing your ego into that, you're going to be losing fans. And I think that's why a lot of artists, especially in South Africa, make it really big, because they're really talented at what they do, but then they start letting the ego take over, and the lifespan of these artists is only like 4 or 5 years, and then they start falling by the wayside. So I think if you're really passionate about the industry, then the ego really never plays a part of it. I think that's when you start differentiating between whether somebody's in the industry for financial gain and ego, or if somebody's really passionate about it. And you'll see it as time goes on. Those kind of people, that the egotistical people, will fall by the wayside, whereas the people that are really passionate will succeed and have a longer future in the industry. I think that's it for me. So then go straight for it. Whether it is trends, whether it's the hype train now with artists on the Afrotech or the Amapiano sound, if that's what you're passionate about, do it. If you're not passionate about it, you're passionate about R&B or something, do it. My firm belief throughout my career is I'll do whatever makes me happy, and the money will follow. For me, I've never been about jumping on trends or following what somebody else is doing, because that's not what I'm passionate about. So, if I'm going to do a show, I'm going to do the show because I enjoy the show, or I think the show people will enjoy. And I'm not doing the show to follow somebody else's successes. That's never been my business model. But that's why I don't really have much opinion on it. I've always just been firmly of the belief of do whatever makes you happy, and the money will follow, the successes will follow. Like following trends or not following trends or staying away from trends, that's no real value to me, because that doesn't determine my happiness or where I want my business to go. If that makes sense. Work harder and be better than the gatekeepers. But eventually, that passion will shine through, and they're going to either have to take notice or they're going to move aside. This industry, as big as it is, it's very small, and I know you guys mentioned gatekeepers and kind of people blocking the way. But there's from a promoter's point of view, at my side, it's not really a gatekeeper, as opposed to me working with people that I can trust and I know and I can count on, as opposed to getting in new talent. That's why I say, like, if you work harder and you're better, people will eventually realize or take notice. And that's kind of what happens in our industry is as promoters or as event festival curators, kind of get stuck in your own bubble and work with the guys that you know can offer you the product or the service that you need. And you kind of lose sight of the smaller guys, which is partly our blame. But that's purely just because we trust these artists or suppliers to do exactly what we want. So that's why if you work harder and you innovate and you're constantly in sort of the line of sight of the artists or the promoters or the guys that curate the lineups, they will eventually have to look at you. And just keep working, man. Keep working, and if you're not going to get on that lineup, you'll get onto another lineup. If you're not going to get onto that series, you'll get onto another series. It all just comes down to to work harder than the person next to you and be better at your job than that person is. And you'll eventually have to get noticed one way or another. It might take a year, it might take 8 years. But if you're that passionate about your job, you'll definitely succeed. It's just a matter of time. But yeah, that's probably.
And then what keeps you motivated?
What keeps me motivated? I'd say the passion. I keep on bringing it straight back to the passion. When lockdown hit, and for all of us, I think we saw the 21 days of a holiday for our industry. 21 days led to 3 months and 6 months and 9 months, and eventually I think we're now 19 months into it. I've thought many times of shutting my business down and going into a normal 9 to 5, and just the thought of that gives me anxiety, because for me it's not about the money. I mentioned in the beginning, for me it's about entertaining people and seeing smiles on people's faces. So whether I make 500,000 rand off of a show, that's what feeds my soul, is making those people happy. And eventually the money comes. I've never done a show based on how much money I'm going to make off of that show. I've done the show based on how many people can I entertain for those 6 to 10 hours. So as long as the passion still there, I'll keep on doing it. And I don't think that passion will ever die, because I think that's sort of my purpose in life. As a DJ, their purpose is entertaining by playing music. As a promoter or a festival curator, my purpose is putting on a show that people have fun at. And I don't think that'll ever die out. I think at 80 years old, I'm still going to be putting on shows, God willing, and hopefully I'm healthy enough to do something like that. But yeah, I'll always be doing shows throughout my life, purely because the passion fuels me. Like, I'll go to bed thinking about how better I can make the experience. And if you're not doing that as an actress or a DJ or a promoter, then I don't really think that this industry is for you, because this industry will swallow you whole if you're not 100% vested in it. So, yeah, if you've got the passion, you will eventually succeed. It's a matter of time. Sure. So I think in my industry, I mean, historically we've been all about sort of the large scale event. Large scale, I say anything between sort of 8 and 15,000 people. That's obviously gone away with COVID and social distancing, and capacities being limited. I'd say that the opportunities at the moment are lying with brands. A lot of brands have held budgets behind, especially because of the uncertainty with regards to COVID. So when sort of COVID kind of stabilizes and brands can start executing, I think you need to be front and center with those brands. And you need to be different, you need to be unique. Like, I can't reiterate that enough. There's a lot of promoters, brand agencies that are just pushing out the normal sort of outlines or brand strategies. And I think we're going to see a big influx of brands activating, whether it's in sort of the commercial space or eventing space. But the brands that succeed are the brands that are going to be doing unique experiences. We're working on a brand show towards the end of the year that's probably going to be the talk of the town, purely because of how out the box we're thinking. And I think that's where talking about lies is, you need to be so far out there that you get noticed. And I mean, if you're in this industry just for sort of financial gain, you're not going to be able to excel in it. because there's just so many people that are willing to do the same work cheaper. And that's where you've kind of got to draw the line. You've got to know that your brand or your idea or your strategy is the best because of the amount of work you put into it, and charge accordingly. And yeah, I think if you can target sort of the brands right now, especially going into summer, I think you'll be on top. If you kind of think that you're going to stay behind and wait and expect sort of the old normal to come back, I think you're in for a rude awakening. I think you've got to understand that this is sort of a new world, and you've got to adapt and you've got to learn very quickly, because if you don't, you might as well leave the industry. And again, it comes down to passion. Like, if you're passionate about what you're doing, that passion will follow through in your work. And that's kind of what our ethos is. It's, passion meets execution meets clients' needs. So yeah, I think if you can target brands and you can come up with really cool ideas, then you'll be front and center. If not, I think you're going to fall by the wayside.